Oh no. Sorry, just reading one of these notes. We're meant to be streaming to Twitter as well as YouTube, and I'm just getting a note here right now before we go live that I need to upgrade my Twitter account. That's a shame. Okay, not to worry. Um, so we'll try that again next week. I'm going to have to get Blue for next week, and we'll try and get the Twitter stream going as well as the YouTube stream. I've been away for a couple of weeks, so I apologise for not being around. We had some issues 2 weeks ago with Bison Relay, and I'll kind of walk you guys through what happened there and how it got resolved. Um, we'll probably be talking a little bit about price today. Remember, this isn't financial advice. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not a financial advisor. So this cannot be considered as financial advice, but it's quite interesting to talk about. We've had quite a bit happen in the crypto space that's just worth mentioning. Now, in future weeks, if you guys do want to come onto the show, just let me know, and we'll get you scheduled in, and we'll do that as well. If you're over on Bison Relay and you want to post a comment in the Decred Today group, or you want to post on the actual feed that I've created, go for it, and I'll make sure you guys get tipped. There's a couple of interesting things over there that we can talk about as well. So it's just me on my luncheon, but let's get started. Let's roll the intro, and let's talk about some stuff that's been happening in crypto and Decred. So I like to start these shows just presuming that no one knows what Decred is and they're new to the space and they're just trying to find out for the first time. So I like to put together an elevator to pitch, and we'll try and keep it quite short. So today is decentralization theatre. So the pitch here is that decentralization is hard. There's lots of elements that need to be thought about, and most projects actually don't get this right out of the blocks. What Decred does is it has an iterative approach to decentralization. So when it started out, the core elements like the blockchain was obviously decentralized and run by the nodes. But then the extra things that came on top, like the treasury, the DAO governance, the privacy, all had these stepping stones. So they didn't start off completely decentralized. And one of the reasons for that is that if something went wrong, if something is fully decentralized or at its core properly decentralized, it's actually irreversible. You can't change something without either stopping the chain, which proves it's not decentralized, or without implementing some code or reversing the blockchain, all of which prove that these things are not decentralized. So what Decred did is they've taken an iterative approach, and you can see this in things like the treasury and the coin mixing stake shuffle, where they said, right, let's start on a centralized server, let's get this stuff working. This is all new tech, and then let's iterate over time. Now we're 8 years into this project, and Decred can officially say that the core layer one is now fully decentralized. And that's not to say that it can't iterate some more, but everything that's happening in the mixing, the treasury, the governance is actually decentralized. So that's layer one. So that's my elevation pitch, is that these things take time and there are lots of elements to think about. But ultimately, decentralization is the end goal. Another thing to consider is the initial decisions that projects make can actually hinder this process going forward. So I really feel like if you're going to take an iterative approach and you have this design goal, but obviously you need to make sure that everything works and everything gets tested in a real domain, this is really the best way of going about it. And that's the way Decred's gone about it. And now we're in a space where we can say these things are fully implemented. Where Decred goes from here is obviously we're going to iterate, or the devs are going to iterate and kind of obviously continuously improve the layer one. But a lot of what's happening now is on layer two. And as we saw with Bison Relay a couple of weeks ago, when the Bison Hub, the server that was housing Bison Hub, shut down, we've still got a little way to go there to make sure that gets more decentralized. Now, it does need to be noted that Bison Hub is just one server. Anybody can spin up a hub or a Lightning Network hub on Bison Relay. The reason it's quite centralized at the minute is the Bison Hub is the main one. It's the one that's pretty much got all the connections going to it. So my mission 2 weeks ago was we were going to onboard the desert links and kind of test run Bison Relay and kind of get a thought for it. And unfortunately, the prepaid invites kind of work better with the Bison Hub. So it was a bit detrimental if we kind of tried to continue on somebody else's hub. So that's why we decided to cancel that in the end. So it does need to be noted that these things do still need to be improved. In terms of Decred's Lightning Network, we do have on Bison Relay, we do have a very decentralized Lightning Network that has full support, 100% support by the Decred nodes. But that being said, to get it to work in a really nice way, there are these more centralized elements. And over time, the expectation will be that the hubs that run all the connections and the liquidity providers will become more and more decentralized, and hopefully we'll start seeing that implemented over the next few years. But it's all interesting stuff, and I mean the decentralized stuff that happens. Most of it is it's actually crazy interesting, and it's crazy complex, and that's why you do see a lot of projects shouting about, yeah, we're fully decentralized, and then they have a rollback. Even Ethereum, going back a few years now, when their DAO got hacked, they had a rollback to make sure all the investors remained whole. And these kind of elements prove that things do need to be decentralized over time rather than all in one big hit. And you've only got to look at projects like Solana, where they can coordinate the nodes to stop the platform so that they can kind of resync and stuff like that. So these things do take time. One thing I did want to discuss before we move on to some news elements and some of the exciting stuff that's coming on, and this is going to be a really exciting week for Decred, and I'll explain a bit. But some of the areas that you do need to consider when you're looking at crypto projects that are trying to be peer-to-peer money or decentralized money, whatever way people want to go with that, there are a few things that you need to look at. The first thing is the full nodes. Is there a nice distribution of full nodes? Now, in Decred's case, we have a full node base of approximately 120 to 150 full nodes across the world. We have, if we look at the map, which I haven't got in front of me, you can see there are some gaps throughout Africa, throughout South America, and throughout the Middle East, which would be really nice to kind of fill. Another element there, so obviously having lots of nodes is one thing, and like I said, we're still quite low in that respect. It'd be nice, and there was a discussion about this a few weeks ago. It'd be nice to get that node count up to about 250, so we can start implementing some more things that can make the platform run even smoother. One element that was discussed was actually making the interval between mixes smaller, and it was said at the time that could only happen if we get more nodes. But the other element there is when you're looking at where the nodes are housed. Now, Decred has a really nice spread of nodes. They're not all housed in AWS or Cloudflare, which are the main data centers for computing across the world, or cloud computing across the world. In terms of AWS, it was about 1% or 2 or 3 nodes that were actually running AWS, which is actually really impressive. When you look at these node networks that have got thousands and thousands of nodes, what you tend to see is they are housed in Cloudflare or they're housed in AWS. And these are massive data centers. You pay for storage, and you can pay for storage in the thousands, and you can pay for memory and all the rest of it. What the aim is to be fully decentralized and to be completely widespread, so there are no halts and there is no coordination. You need like home servers as well as these cloud servers. A couple of things that might be worth considering going forward, and this is just me talking off the top of my hand. It probably will be quite controversial in the Decred space, but maybe just incentivizing with a proposal to actually start spinning up some more nodes, especially in those areas like South America, Central America, the Middle East, and Africa, just to try and get people incentivized to actually spin them up. Maybe just cover the cost of running those nodes each month. That could be one way. Another thing that I'd like to see is an easy setup for DCRD on something like Umbrel. So you go on there and you can spin up an Umbrel, and you can spin up DCRD on Umbrel, and it can run in the background along with Bison Wallet or DCRDEX. The thing that's kind of always put me off of running a peer node, which is fully peer-to-peer, where you open a connection to the to the internet is just that. It's the security risk with it, and to make sure that you've done it properly. And it scares the life out of me, and no one really wants to open up the world to your internet and kind of get all your data hacked and whatnot. So that's something that will be quite nice to have on Umbra, have a nice step-by-step guide to set up those outbound ports, or inbound ports, and just to make sure everything's set up properly and make sure there's no security risk with that. So people can confidently run these full nodes and they can participate in all of these things. And we can get our node count up to like 250. So that's one area that obviously we need to work on. That being said, 120 to 150 is still a good number, especially since they are so widespread. The next element that to do with decentralization is how the light clients are housed. So Decred has two ways of connecting that are considered decentralized, and that is obviously running a full node. So Decrediton, for instance, allows you to run a full node, which basically means you conduct the communications. So although you're not a peer, you're not physically kind of opening your connection, so you're always online. What Decrediton does, it allows you to download the full blockchain, which is currently like 11 gigabytes or something like that. And it allows you to push your own transactions to all the nodes and have them put into a mempool, rather than having to trust a singular node, which is what a lot of the light clients do, especially those that are housed in mobile apps. They have a singular node set up and you communicate with that singular node, and then that node pushes out to the network. Whereas on Decrediton, you can do that via the full node and you can push it out to all the known peers yourself, which is absolutely amazing. And also our SPV light client, which is approximately 200 megabytes, which is really, really small, really suitable for mobiles, also has the same function. So you only download the blocks that you need. Every single node in the network has all the filters that are needed. So we've got 100% support for our SPV. And then you can communicate with all these without having to kind of specifically pick the ones you want to talk to. So that's another area. And you'll find, if you dig deep, a lot of projects really struggle in this SPV area. To my knowledge, Decred, Bitcoin, BTC, and Litecoin are currently the only three that have really good support for the SPV client. So you can act in this way. And that being said, that there's not 100% support on Bitcoin or Litecoin. So it's only Decred that has 100% support from every single network node, because all the filters are built into the headers of the blocks, which is really interesting. I've done a few videos on that if you want to have a look at that more. There are a few other elements, but let me just chuck out one more for decentralization, and that is the size of the blockchain. Now, if you're trying to squeeze everything on chain, you're trying to squeeze everything into the block, what you're going to find is you get this massive blockchain into the terabytes, and that then becomes an issue for decentralization, because if you've got big blockchains, you tend not to have normal consumers like myself that can actually run a full node. It tends to only be the AWSs of this world or the cloud players of this world that can actually run them. So it's another thing that you need to watch out for. Is one of the reasons that Decred is going down this route of layer 2, is because we can keep our layer 1 small. We're running 8 years at the moment, and we're 11 gigabytes, which is incredibly small. It's incredibly versatile and flexible, and all the rest of it. And pretty much anyone now can run a Decred full node. As of Decred 2, this whole process went from it used to take me about 25 minutes to 30 minutes to do an SPV sync from start to full chain sync. As of Decred 2, and I haven't tried this yet, but apparently it's now down to approximately 7 minutes because of all of the updates they've been doing, which is absolutely incredible. They've been really streamlining this process, which is absolutely incredible, really. There's a few other areas that we could talk about there, but I'm going to leave it there. So when you're looking at these projects and you're looking at becoming, or you're looking for the best project to be decentralized, I would definitely look at those components. First, how many nodes they've got, how those nodes are run, and if it's a good blockchain, you can literally pull this data up. Now, just give me 2 seconds, and I'm going to pull up R1 just so you can see that I'm not talking a load of old nonsense. So you can actually see what's going on. Let me bring this up. Hold on. So there you go. So, excuse me. So there you go. There's our node count. So you can see this. What I'm saying is absolutely true. And if a blockchain is worth its weight in gold, they will share this information. They will share it as part of their block explorers normally. Unfortunately, this information isn't on the block explorers on jholstocks.uk. Um, so yeah, hopefully in future months we will get this information. And you can see what I was saying earlier about needing more South America, and you can see what I was saying earlier about needing more in Africa and the Middle East. But that being said, Europe, America, we've got a really good coverage, in Canada for that matter. We've got really good coverage. But it would be nice to see more. It'd be really nice for a kind of an end of 2024 goal to actually get that up to the 200 mark, 250, and have a really nice spread of it. If people are interested in this idea of putting a proposal together to incentivize people from these areas, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on that. So yeah, decentralized theatre, the decentralization theatre, which is what Tivra said we should change it to. And if you scroll down, also you can see where they're housed as well. So these are the top places. Sorry, it's DigitalOcean, not Digital Flare. DigitalOcean's got 5 nodes. AWS got 4 nodes, so on and so forth. And then you can click into all of them to see exactly where they're housed. And these are just full nodes. These are the nodes that are connecting outwards. They've got their connections open and are visible to the world. Obviously, like I said before, Decrediton is absolutely massive, and you can actually be a peer. You can be a full node. You just don't have that extra bit where you become a peer. Fantastic. So, 2 seconds. Let me change this view so we've got a bigger screen here. Let's just have a look at what's been happening. So this week, I mean, the price has just across the board, and you guys have probably all been watching this, but we've actually had some massive devaluation across the stock market and across crypto. And Decred has actually hit a low that it hasn't seen since it kind of started in 2016, 2017. So if you look at the exchange rate now, we're just recovering now, but at one point this got down to about $9, which was absolutely incredible. Um, and it wouldn't surprise me to see this go back up to $12, $13 over the next few days. There's a lot of thoughts about this, and I've put a little alt season tab there because there's some interesting thoughts there that might play into this. But now is absolutely, if you are interested in Decred, this is a price that we've not seen since 2016, 2017. So if you are interested, it might still go lower. I'm not, like I said, this isn't financial advice by any means, but it's a pretty decent price to get in at. And even if you look at tickets, $2,240 for a ticket at the minute, or 218 Decred, which is absolutely incredible. And we're just starting to see this push downwards now. So what we've got in our tickets is an algorithm that tries to keep the ticket pool at roughly 41,000. So we went up to 10,050,000 DCR in the pool, and as those tickets now voted, it's now gone down about 600,000. So we were at 62%. We're now at 61%. The all-time high in terms of percentages, and this is something Tivra brought up in a conversation, was actually 65%. So we're still a little way off of the all-time high. But it still shows that there's still good sentiment there, that we've still got a lot of people staking, that although the price is at an all-time low, there really isn't any more than like 4 million coins that are up for grabs. So the wash trading that's happening at the minute, where it's going backwards and forwards, are literally the same coins. Literally the same coins keep going backwards and forwards. Over the next week, we'll probably see the price come down. It wouldn't surprise me if the price of the ticket comes down to something like 190 before it recovers. And that's how the algorithm works. It takes maybe a week or two just to kind of bounce backwards and forwards if a big amount of Decred is unstaked in one go and not restaked. So that'll be interesting to watch. It'll also be interesting to watch what happens with the exchange rate to see where this ends up. My guess is probably about $13 to $14 again, and that seems to be our normal threshold. I don't think we've got a treasury spend in there yet. So in the next few days, we might see treasury spend come up as well. And that's pretty much all there is there. If you did want to check, and I can't remember if I showed you this last time, but if you did want to check the pool, if you click on this one here, you can actually see the participation rate. God, got tongue tied there. You can actually see the participation rate. So this one here is our percentage rate, and you can see this kind of all-time highs, 2022, 2023. That was about 65%. Look, so roughly 65%. So we've remained in this band all throughout this time of kind of where the price has just been going down, down, down. We've actually remained in this band. You can also change this. So you can look at things like, I mean, if you want to see the blockchain size, that's there. You know, since we introduced Bison Relay, it's gone up. So we're getting a few more people through the door now. But we are now, it's gone up. It's roughly 13 gigabytes. So it's gone up gigabytes since I last looked. If you want to see the value, I think it's this one here. There you go, the total DCR in the actual pool. And you can see this is kind of, although about 600,000 coins have been minted since this point here, probably 400,000 coins, you can see that, you know, we have been gradually increasing. So yeah, all interesting stuff. And if you're interested in kind of keeping an eye on that's worth following. Let me close that window and let's just have a look what else has been happening. Now, this is the one thing that I'm crazy excited for. Bison Wallet. It was meant to be, it's meant to be this week. You know, the indicator said that maybe it might be today. So I'm keeping a real close eye on this. But by all accounts, looking at what's been said in the Matrix channels, you know, we are very, very close. There's a few marketing efforts which you guys in marketing or marketing fanatics might like to look at. There is some marketing efforts going on there, so we're going to all combine at exactly the same time and try and kind of push this. Excuse me. So we've got a live stream scheduled for. Oh, my internet looks really low. You guys watching, how is it? Hopefully it's not too glitchy. I am recording this, so if it is glitchy, I'll repost the better one. So you may have noticed that I've actually bought the StreamYard software now, so we haven't got that horrible watermark in the corner there, which is absolutely great. And it also means I can record these live streams. So even if it's glitchy right now, when I post the replay later, it won't be glitchy. It'll be absolutely fine. But if it is, let me know, because I've got a feeling it's actually Safari that's making me glitch. Although my internet connection now, it's currently saying it's like 1 to 2 bars, which is really annoying. So hopefully it's not too glitchy. Apologies if it is. But yeah, so this week we've got a live stream on Wednesday at 4 p.m. UK time. So we're going to do it a bit later so that some of our American viewers can actually kind of get involved in that. And the mission with it is we're going to kind of post a whole bunch of liquidity. We're going to try and build up a market. I'm going to try and personally build up a market for USDC. And I think that's such an important one to have. Obviously, you guys know that we're not on Coinbase, but Coinbase currently are doing a massive push to make USDC their number one fiat currency. So what they've done is they've combined the actual US dollar, and they've combined it with Polygon USDC. So when American customers deposit US dollars into their account, they instantly become USDC. So there's no exchange loss there or anything. So, I mean, one of the big things that Exodus was saying is that US customers really don't have an opportunity to get Decred because there's no way of getting it. Whereas if we can build up a USDC market on Bison Wallet, it does mean that you're going to have direct access to it. And you know what? The fees are ridiculously low. So if you've got US dollars, in your Coinbase and you transfer it into your Bison Wallet, it's going to cost you less than a penny, like literally a fraction of a penny. And then when you make your trade, it's also going to cost you less than a fraction of a penny. You could literally bounce this stuff around all day long and it's gonna, you won't even notice it. It's literally a fraction of a penny. You will need a bit of Matix. Matix is currently trading at about 30 pence or 40 40 cents. So that's dirt cheap as well. So yeah, that's the one we're going for. So when you buy Decred and then when you want to get out again, you just sell it straight back for USDC, go straight back into Coinbase, and you're done. It's literally the best option we've got without actually being listed on Coinbase. Another thing that the devs have been, not necessarily devs, but certainly community members that are close to this, have been indicating is that every pair on Bison Wallet is going to have that USDC Polygon pair as their main one. So, we're going to have quite a bit of liquidity in USDC, which means we're going to be able to kind of build up a lot of markets a lot quicker. Exciting things for the Dash community, of course, is Dash is coming. Digibyte was already there. What else is coming? And Pharaoh for the guys in the Pharaoh community. If you run a Pharaoh wallet or a Dash wallet, you are now going to be able to use Bison Wallet, which is going to be absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to see how that works. And once again, I want to try and get Ruben from Pharaoh on, and we'll do some trades live on Decred today. And I've also scheduled for Desert Links to come back on, and we'll do some bits with that as well. So yeah, really, really interesting stuff going on there. Really looking forward to that. What else have we got here? In terms of the news, this was part of last week where it was announced that Warren Buffett has literally got rid of a whole bunch of his main stock, so his Apple stock and a whole bunch of other stuff. So this one here says he got rid of 50%. I'm not sure how accurate that is. But the interesting thing here is he's now looking to hold more dollars. So he's literally doubled from $150 billion cash holdings to 277 billion, which kind of triggered the thought last week that we might be heading for a recession. Which, you know, uh, if it happens, you definitely want to have a bit of cash, to be able to buy some of this stuff cheap. If it doesn't happen, cash is always a good option anyway. And once again, not financial advice, but what I tend to do is I do hold Bitcoin, I do hold US dollars, and I do hold Decred. So all of those things I hold. I also hold Dash, and I also hold Pharaoh. Um, I'm quite I'm quite optimistic for those projects. There's some interesting things happening. But once again, in future weeks, we'll get to talk to the guys and we'll get to talk to what's happening. And hopefully, these communities can start working together and start building up this liquidity and start building up these communications and do some really interesting stuff. So, one last thing for Twitter before I close this page down and we head on over to Bison Relay is the alt season tag. The alt season hashtag came up, and there's a whole bunch of posts, and people are really excited that they think we might be just about to break into alt season. Now, this one's quite interesting because if this is true, Decred is here, right between 2022 and 2023. We've literally just hit the low of the whole thing. So it kind of makes us like a year and a half behind where they're currently saying. And I'm presuming that this market here is based on Ethereum. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. I don't know. I don't think we are behind, but obviously that's what it shows here. We've just hit our lows in both Bitcoin and fiat or US dollar. So yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to pan out really, but I thought that was interesting that people are getting psyched up for a rally between September and December, probably into the early part of next year. And if that pans out, then it's going to get very, very exciting very, very quickly. But that being said, be careful. There were lots and lots of scams last time around. One thing I saw on the news earlier today was the OneCoin project is now getting its own documentary, so that should be interesting with some key people playing there, and they've just offered 5 million reward for the crypto queen or whatever she called herself. Okay, I think that's pretty much there. Now, I'm going to head back over to, let me close Safari because I suspect Safari is giving me, is probably what's causing my internet to keep crashing out. So let me stop screening for a second. There we go. Let me close Safari. So hopefully doesn't glitch as much as it was. And let's head over to Bison Relay and see if there's any questions there or anything going on over there. If you guys have questions, obviously chuck them up on Bison Relay. Chuck them up in the comments if you want to. But if you do it on Bison Relay, I will make sure that you guys get tips. And I can show you guys how that works if you want to. We haven't got anyone to onboard today, which is a little bit gutting. So I'm a bit gutted about. But there are a few things happening here. So let's have a look. So here's the Decred Today channel. Like I say, if you want to join, you're more than welcome to. It'd be great to see you in there. And if you want to post your questions here, all I'll do is I'll click on your name and I will pay you a tip. You know, make sure you guys get tipped during the show if you have any questions. If for some reason you can't get into this, what you can do is you can head on over to feeds. And I've posted this feed here, Decentralized Theatre, Decred Today Live, episode 3. And you can post a comment here and I'll make sure you guys get a tip. Loads of people looking at this. Great stuff. That's what I like to see. Let's see what else we've got. I think that was pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. Like I say, we do have a very, very interesting week coming up. Bison Wallet. The likelihood is that Bison Wallet will be released this week. So the mission will be to kind of download the wallet and then start playing around with the market maker bots, of which I'm intending to create some tutorials. I'm going to try and get them up as soon as it's released and we have a definite version. I'm going to put some tutorials up showing you how to download it, showing you how to add your own liquidity, showing you how to start your first trade, and then we'll look at how the market bots work. I'll probably leave the market bot stuff until next month once I've got my head around it a bit more. But initially I will kind of just show you guys how to set it up. And I might get one of because I know that the Pharaoh and the Dash wallets are slightly different to set up. So they don't have a native wallet like what Bitcoin does and like Decred does. So I might get someone on just to show us how to set them up, just so everyone can get rigged up. And over the next few weeks, we can start incentivizing people to use this and we start building up liquidity and try and make a real go of it. This stuff is going to be absolutely incredible. Well, a bit of a short episode, but I think we're pretty much there. I'll hold out for a couple of minutes just to see if anyone else comes online. But I think I'm pretty much done with what I wanted to say. I don't want to kind of bore you guys any more than I have to. You're probably quite fed up with listening to me. A thing we could say is, who would you like to see on the show? Obviously, it's unlikely that any really big names would come on, but if there's anyone you want to, I can try and give a shout out to them and just see if they'll come on and talk about anything that they're doing. And if you're in the community and you're doing anything that you want Decred to know about, that's what this space is for. This space is to kind of get you guys on here, talk about it, and it's a bit more shower thought-esque if you like, but I think it's important to have these conversations. I did miss something actually. There were some conversations this week about what happens after Bison Wallet version 1. Now, as we all know, once version 1 is released, most of the emphasis is going to move towards the mesh network. So once again, with this decentralized theater at the moment, the communication server for Bison Wallet DCRDEX is fairly centralized. That being said, though, all your coins are self-custody. So all you're doing is communicating with the server who relays messages backwards and forwards. Now, the mesh network is going to be the next mission going forward. And the idea with this is that more people will be able to run this. Communities will be able to run their own meshes and they'll be able to put up their own pairs. And it will become fully decentralized, probably over the next 2 or 3 years. That's going to be a mammoth task. Talking to people like Dave C about how long it took them to build the privacy mesh network, that took over 2 years with a few full starts. So, it's going to take some work. But ultimately, that's what's needed to kind of make this into a fully decentralized peer-to-peer trading platform. And it's ridiculously exciting. I've got to be honest. Bison Wallet. If you look back through the videos on this channel, on the YouTube channel, go back to one of the first ones. It was part of my original thesis, where the idea of a peer-to-peer the idea of a peer-to-peer exchange was absolutely necessary, where you're not trusting these middlemen. And that's what Decred have built. They've built a peer-to-peer exchange where there's no middlemen, there's no fees, it's all peer-to-peer, minus this one component, which is just the server that communicates between each of the peers. It doesn't hold your coins. Um, Bison Wallet is an atomic swap platform. And the fact that over 7 years, this has kind of happened, and it's got that exciting, and they've kind of followed through on all these things. And to my knowledge, even to this day, I know there's Basic Swap, I think it's called, that are doing similar things, and there's a few other atomic swap platforms now kind of showing up. The Bison Wallet DCRDEX is a long way forward. It really is an impressive piece of work. And as I was talking to experts this week, I don't think we're going to ever get rid of the centralized exchange things. I think we're always going to need them for our fiat on and off ramps, But if you're trading crypto and you're long into this, it has to be the next step. It has to be that you don't trust anyone with your exchanges. They can't shut down your wallet. They can't say, "Oh, sorry, you can't withdraw right now," or "You can't make that trade because it doesn't benefit us," or whatever, which we've seen so many times in the past. Um, and by making this fully peer-to-peer, that's ultimately where we're headed. So that was the first thing. The mesh network is on the next step. But one interesting thing about what was also said is the default mode is going to be simple mode. Now, if you've ever used one of the simple swaps like Changely, you'll know you basically have two values to input, and they tell you what you're going to get. So you press submit, and it just auto completes. So I thought that was really interesting. Yes, you're going to have this advanced mode, which is basically what Bison Wallet's got now. It's got full trade view, and it's absolutely amazing. But for those that want to just kind of make regular buys and sells, you're just going to have this simple mode, boom. And what it will do is it will just take the first swaps up to what you've asked for. If you've asked for too much and there isn't that in the liquidity, obviously it will say, no, you can't do that right now. This is the maximum. So I thought that was a really good approach, and a lot of people have been crying for that. And if I'm honest, I quite like simple mode. I think, as another point, they're also aiming to get rid of the market orders. So the simple mode will replace market orders, and the market orders is a bit finicky. Actually, I'm not a huge fan of the market orders. So I think having the simple mode where you don't see all the extra complexity. You just go, boom, I want this number, boom, and it does it nice and easy. Also, the possibility of getting rid of lot sizes, which probably a good thing. And there's going to be some intuitive ways of which to limit loss and slippages. So those are all the conversations that are happening post version 1, Bison Wallet version 1. Let's just double check, make sure there's nothing else happening here. But I think we're pretty much all good. Yeah, well, like I say, it's been a pleasure. If anyone wants to come on the show, anyone wants to come on next week's show, talk about this stuff, next week, fingers crossed, if Bison Wallet is released, we will do a complete trading session. So we will be on there. We'll kind of work through all the different trades, and we'll just focus our time on there. And we'll try and get people to trade backwards and forwards. And like I said previously, I'll probably lose some money, but I'm happy to do that just to kind of get some of this going. So I think that'd be very exciting stuff. With all that being said, guys, have a great week, and don't forget to join us Wednesday. Take care.